Okay, I'd like to bring the California Transportation Commission meeting of December 11th to order. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Alvarado? Mr. Orsini?
Here.
Mr. Burke? Mr. Dunn? Here. Mr. Hart?
Here.
Mr. Cromer?
Here.
Mr. Gardino?
Present.
Mr. Emmons? Here. Mr. Tavaloni?
Here.
Chair Gametti?
Here. That's item 1. Item 2, hearing on the California Commission Transportation Commission Conflict of Interest Amendment. Susan?
Commissioners, staff will take agenda items 2 and 3 together. At the October Commission meeting, the Commission approved proposed initial amendments to the Commission's Conflict of Interest Code. This agenda item 2 was held as a placeholder in the event a hearing or written comments were received to our proposed amendments. As we have not received a request for a hearing or written comments, there's no need for agenda item number 2. Staff would move to agenda item 3 and recommend the Commission's approval of the amendments to the Commission's Conflict of Interest Code.
A motion by Commissioner Tavaloni, a second by Commissioner Arp. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4, Stephen?
Yes, Commissioners, we have a whole bunch of resolutions of necessity before review, and item number 4 is an appearance by the Hennas. Under eminent domain law, a property owner whose property is under condemnation consideration has the right to appear before the Commission to question 3 and only 3 issues. 1, whether public interest and necessity require the proposed project. 2, whether the proposed project is planned and located in a manner that is most compatible with the greatest public good and least private injury. And 3, whether the property to be condemned is necessary for the proposed project. The Commission neither determines the amount of compensation for the property rights to be acquired, nor deals with any other issue than the 3 just stated. Government Code Section 7267.2 requires the Department to make an offer to purchase the property rights needed. The Department has made the required offer. The Department's property condemnation process includes review panel meetings to try to settle outstanding issues to which the property owner is invited. These meetings have been held. Code of Civil Procedure Section 1245.240 specifies 8 affirmative votes for Commission approval of a resolution of necessity. The Commission scheduled an appearance at the request of property owner Makram Hanna at its October meeting and requested that both parties continue negotiating and return for a rehearing in December. The property in question consists of 40.725 acres, zoned for light industrial use, and is currently vacant land. The property is impacted by a $98 million new 4-lane freeway construction project on State Route 11 in San Diego County. The Department needs 0.5 acres in fee, 2.3 acres in underlying fee from an existing road easement, 1.4 acres in various access, utility, road, and drainage easements, and 0.97 acres in slope easements to construct a new freeway. The property owner contends that the Department is taking more property than it needs, that the drainage easement should be located on the Department side of the new property line, and the Department should purchase any excess soil he has when he lowers his remainder property by 20 feet. District 11 Director Lori Berman is ready to make the Department's presentation, to be followed by the property owner or his representative.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Floyd Davis. I'm a registered civil engineer. I hold 3 master's degrees, one in mathematics, one in civil engineering, the other one in business administration. I was registered in 1981.
Excuse me, sir. I think the Department will go first, and then you.
Strange beginning.
Okay. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Lori Berman. I'm the Caltrans District 11 Director, and this presentation is for the resolution of necessity for the Makram and Maureen Hanna property in San Diego County in District 11. As you may recall, we appeared at the October meeting to obtain the resolution of necessity for this property. At that time, you asked that we take a few more weeks to work with the owners to address their remaining issues and develop a mutually acceptable resolution. Immediately following the October meeting, the department requested that the owners confirm in writing their remaining issues so that they could be accurately identified and appropriately addressed in future discussions. At this time, the department also provided the additional technical information, including the full construction plans and drainage analysis for the SR11 project to the property owners. The following is a brief description of the property owners' remaining written issues. 1, the soil contention, which is clearly a compensation issue. 2, the excessive right-of-way take on the west end of the parcel. 3, the excessive right-of-way take on the east end of the parcel adjacent to Enrico Fermi Drive. And 4, the revocable drainage easement is larger than necessary and in an awkward location. At an October 25th face-to-face meeting with Mr. Hanna, the department addressed each and every remaining issue in detail with no global resolution of all the issues. In subsequent meetings, phone contacts, and correspondences, the owners have continued to express their contention that the right-of-way take is excessive at the west end, and these ongoing contentions are stated in their December 1st correspondence to the Commission as well. After listening to their concerns, the department developed a third alternative that provides the owners a new proposal which effectively reduces the right-of-way take in this area while still being consistent with the project design requirements for the highway facility. It should be noted that the owners advise that no further technical data is needed to assist with their development plans. The department is confident that this alternative will meet your findings that the right-of-way requirements are most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury, and I'll get to that in just a minute. Ultimately, the owners would like to wrap a two-part process into just one step. And while it would be expeditious to globally settle all matters with the resolution of necessity and the compensation for the property here today, statute requires that today we'll only look at necessity. So the following presentation will address the owners' contentions and our responses. Thank you. As you may recall, the proposed State Route 11 freeway, commercial vehicle enforcement facility, and Otay Mesa East Federal Port of Entry are to be constructed in order to reduce congestion and facilitate trade and personal travel in the San Diego-Tijuana area. This corridor will carry the majority of freight traffic between California and Mexico. The Segment 1 portion of the project we are discussing today, highlighted in red, will construct the westerly portion of State Route 11 as a new 4-lane freeway with connectors to State Route 905 terminating at Enrico Fermi Drive. The subject parcel, shown in purple, is located in the southeastern portion of Segment 1. The design sequencing project delivery method was used on this project. This delivery method permits construction to begin based upon the initial design sequence of work and prior to possession of 100% of the right-of-way as approved in Senate Bill 1486. It should be noted that the property owners do not have an approved environmental document, grading plans, or development plans. This is a letter from the County of San Diego which indicates no permit application has been submitted to the county as of Monday. With this understanding, the department still made every effort to negotiate with the property owners to optimize their speculative development. This slide addresses the property owner's contention regarding the soil, so let me take a minute to orient you. This exhibit is a cross-section of the State Route 11 project at the subject parcel looking east. From left to right, this exhibit depicts the State Route 11 main lanes, the Enrico Fermi Drive off-ramp, a bioswale, a cut slope, and a maintenance access road. The area in lighter tan represents the roadway excavation required to construct the project. The right side of the cross-section shows the revocable easements that have been negotiated with the property owners. The revocable easements allow the department to construct, operate, and maintain the facility, including the slopes and drainage. When the property owners develop the remainder of the parcel, the easements can be revoked, and the property owners will have unencumbered use and ownership of this area. Over the last several months, the specific contentions regarding the soil have changed. In the May letter to the CTC, the property owners stated that the department should acquire soil in the acquisition area as well as soil in the remainder of the parcel for a total of 420,000 cubic yards of soil, and this is in addition to the required right-of-way. At the October 8th CTC meeting, the property owners presented a new letter to the CTC contending that if the department is allowed to acquire their parcel raw, they would have two options. Their proposed development will be short by 147,000 cubic yards of soil, and they would need to import this amount to balance their site, or they would need to lower their proposed development site by 20 feet, resulting in 280,000 cubic yards of excess soil over the remaining parcel, plus a loss of net buildable area. Additionally, the property owners have claimed that they have not been treated in a manner equal to their neighbors regarding the soil. What Mr. Hanna is referring to is a business decision that was made on the State Route 905 project, which is now complete and open to traffic. But because this issue keeps coming up, I'll take a minute to explain. While developing the State Route 905 project between 2002 and 2007, the department made a business decision to obtain soil from an adjacent property owner at no cost to the department. During that time, soil was scarce and the cost was volatile. Therefore, the decision made economic sense for that project. The department was only able to enter into this agreement because that property was cleared environmentally and had an approved grading permit. Currently, soil prices are stable and excess material is readily available in the region. As a result, the SR 11 Segment 1 bid package required the contractor to provide the embankment material. And I would like to highlight that our current bid price for embankment material for this job is 25 cents per cubic yard. The soil issue has been significant and has been changing. However, at the end of the day, this is a compensation issue and should not be discussed as part of the resolution of necessity. The next two slides will address the contention that the department is being excessive with the right-of-way take. So you may be wondering why we started out needing 5.95 acres and now need only 4.91 acres, especially because the roadway and associated facilities have not changed. So the following is a brief synopsis of how those right-of-way requirements were developed. The department initiated this process on March 13, 2013 with a first written offer. Due to the lack of any approved development plans submitted by the property owners to the County of San Diego, this offer was based on original ground conditions, the design of the highway, and the associated facilities. After multiple written, phone, and face-to-face communications with the property owners and their consultants, which included both the first and second level condemnation meetings, the department moved forward with a second written offer on September 17, 2013. This offer accommodated the property owners' conceptual and unapproved development plans by adjusting the right-of-way to a 129-foot straight-line design on the westerly side and revocable easements in lieu of a portion of the fee, and reduced the fee take on the easterly side of the property adjacent to Enrico Fermi Drive. This was due to the request of the property owners. The department, in fact, received written and verbal consent from the property owners and their representatives prior to the October CTC meeting for this second alternative. The second offer, while not the minimum right-of-way requirements and not typical in the department's experience in regards to revocable easements, was a compromise between the wants of the property owners and the needs of the department. As a result of an October 25th face-to-face meeting and the property owners' repeated contention that the right-of-way requirements were excessive, the department developed and presented a third offer on November 8, 2013. In this proposal, the department reverts back to the minimum right-of-way requirements from the first written offer on the west side of the parcel and ties into the revocable easement line at the cross culvert. This version still incorporates the revocable easements in lieu of fee acquisition, which was previously agreeable to the property owners. It also maximizes the buildable parcel area and still provides the ability for the department to construct and maintain the freeway. Basically, the main difference between the first and third offers are the revocable easements in lieu of fee acquisition on the east side. Now that you have the background, this slide illustrates the sequence of the three written offers. The first written offer shows the fee-only take and the drainage easement, which we have indicated was based on original ground conditions. The second offer shows the 129-foot straight-line design on the westerly portion, a reduced fee take on the east side adjacent to Enrico Fermi Drive, and the revocable easements. The third offer shows the minimum fee take with revocable easements. It should be noted that this width varies between 109 to 113 feet from the edge of the parcel on the westerly portion. As previously stated, the property owners contend that we are still excessive with the right-of-way take adjacent to Enrico Fermi Drive. These right-of-way requirements are based on approved design elements included in the final environmental document for the SR11 Otay Mesa East Port of Entry project that was completed in March of 2012. I want to highlight that the easements will revert back to the property owners once they have an approved development plan and obtain the appropriate approvals from the department and this commission. The timing of this is dependent on the property owner's approved development plan by the County of San Diego and subsequent construction of such development. Before we get into this slide, let me take a minute to orient you. The dark blue line represents the third or current offer, and the solid black line represents the revocable easements. The dark green line that is adjacent to the eastbound off-ramp to Enrico Fermi Drive shows the bioswale. You may notice that the bioswale along the culvert outlet is within the proposed right-of-way, the blue line. This slide addresses the property owner's contention that the revocable drainage easement is larger than necessary and is in an awkward location, and explains the department's limitations to further reduce right-of-way requirements. The design and location of the cross culvert is based on the original ground and follows the natural drainage path. Any change in the natural flow would open the department to liability. Furthermore, the property owners have contended that the location of the head wall could be moved closer to the main lanes and the outlet be contained within the proposed right-of-way. This would result in a fixed object within the clear recovery zone, and regardless of the location of the head wall, the flow line still requires the same degree of excavation on the subject parcel, which is what dictates the size and location of the easement. It has come to our attention this week that the property owners think we will be creating a pond or retention basin on their parcel. This is not the case. As part of our standard design practice, we use cross culverts to capture natural flow to maintain historic drainage patterns. Currently, the water in this watershed is moving from north to south in a natural channel, and the cross culvert, as you can see, was placed in a location to capture the natural flow and to outlet it in the natural channel. The easement at the outflow area allows us to grade so that the water drains properly and maintain that area to protect both downstream and upstream property as well as our facility. Again, these are revocable easements and will revert back to the property owners once they have an approved development plan and obtain the appropriate approvals that I mentioned previously. As part of the contention that the department is requiring excessive right-of-way on the west end of the parcel, the property owners have repeatedly asked the department to move the required right-of-way to 100 feet from the parcel line from the west end. As you can see from this proposed 100-foot straight line in purple, this would impact major design features, including the cross culvert and the bioswale. These photos are examples of maintained and unmaintained culvert outlets. The photo on the left shows a culvert that was designed so that it could be adequately maintained. This would not be possible without sufficient right-of-way. The photo on the right shows what can happen if an outlet and surrounding area are not properly maintained. As depicted in the photo, this can lead to erosion and upstream flooding. It would be irresponsible for the department to move a culvert head wall closer to the traveled way into the clear recovery zone on a new freeway facility in order to decrease the acquisition area by only 1% for speculative development that may or may not occur. Now that's the summary of all of the technical issues. I've got more slides just showing the summary in general. I can proceed with that, or if you have enough information, whatever.
What's the pleasure of the commission? Have you heard enough, or would you like to hear some more? Okay. Thank you, Lori.
Sure.
I think the first speaker is Floyd Davis, who was up before, I believe.
Thank you. Well, I think we've come to a conclusion after several meetings with Mr. Hanna and getting the information that I needed to ascertain exactly what the commission was after and what Mr. Hanna was after and Mr. and Mrs. Hanna after. I was able then to construct some solutions for you, which are shown in the slide presentation. I like low tech, so the presentation board. The northeast corner of the parcel, additional right-of-way was not shown and agreed to on the August 26th right-of-way. That corner would be now back to the 29th foot line from the property line, and that is acceptable to Mr. Hanner. So that resolves one issue that's before the commission right now. The second issue is that the drainage easement number 34808-5 has already been designed for Caltrans standards to go through the property that's being proposed. That proposal is shown in red, and it is designated as a 20-foot public storm drain easement with a 36-inch diameter pipe. That will go through the property, and where it's located is also within an area in which that is going to be internal movements inside of the development, so we'll have total access. The hatch red area indicates the proposed 20-foot access easement so that you can have access back to your culvert. This will then negate the need for the parcel 348008-5, and it could be a temporary construction easement, and it will then revert as outlined in your draft proposals for the acquiring of that property. The third one is that because of this presentation of the access easement that is shown as parcel 34808-7, that will no longer be necessary and will be replaced with the other easement, and therefore you still have access to your facilities to maintain them. The negative impact on the Caltrans acquisition right away, I'm happy to report, is that there has been discussion with staff, and that staff, Michael, has agreed to meet with the Hannas and resolve that issue. So I'm happy to inform the commission that your major issues have been addressed and you can go forward with the project, and Mr. Hanna is quite willing to accept these changes if the commission is, and staff is going to approve. Mrs. Hanna would like to speak to you at this time.
Are there any questions of the speaker first?
So are there any unresolved issues then?
Not to my knowledge. What was presented is the solution that we came up with working with Mr. Hanna after some time, and I says basically this will resolve all your issues and should put everything to rest.
What are you proposing? Are you saying that you want Caltrans to accept this exhibit as a solution?
We're saying that these are proposed solutions and they still need to go through staff review, and the staff needs to accept them as a part of a solution to it. This is only informational item to the commission at this time.
But this is different than what I see District 11 proposing. This proposes a 36-inch pipe through the property.
That's what is shown in the hatch red. Yes, there's 36-inch pipe.
Has this been reviewed by Caltrans yet?
It was submitted the other day, and Caltrans refused it.
When was this submitted?
It was submitted yesterday, wasn't it?
Listen, you know, we've given you guys since the October meeting to get together to come up with some solutions, and now you're telling me 2 days ago you submitted something for us to review.
Mr. Chairman, what happened was when that information was submitted, it took us this long to come up with the resolve to have something to present to you.
All right. Lori, would you respond to this, please?
We've not seen this. If it's been submitted, we've not seen it, and we don't have time today to review it. We can certainly get the resolution and continue to work with the Hannas on minimizing whatever impacts and take a look at this, but we haven't seen this.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mrs. Hanna or Mr. Hanna? Ridiculous.
Good afternoon. I'm Makram Hanna. I sat here and listened. I came here with clear picture, and I met with Michael Webster outside to go back and reverse to their 827 offer, and I thought Lori is coming here to solve problems, but it seems to me like problem exists, and I could assure you, This problem is not solved. There's a civil right issue that is going all the way to Supreme Court, which you forgot to tell you there's another revised offer made 5/29/2013, and they refused to tell you that they made a permit, unnecessary permit to mock my ancestry. They've been mocking me since 2008. They're involved in illegal practice, not for a state, for anybody. If they continue with this with this language and demonizing me, showing me as a liar, obstructing my engineer to negotiate with him, obstructing me to submit encroachment plan, we're not going anywhere. I have a lot to say. Unfortunately, we're involving in a major lies. The two meetings that have done since we left here the last time, the first meeting, it was a fact-finding mission. I sat there, answer questions, all kind of questions, and then they come up with list of issues. They didn't offer any concession whatsoever. I came back, the second meeting, it was nothing but also fact-finding mission. They came back to write the second letter indicating that I needed a contractor phone number. Contractor phone number is on the website. The whole contract is on the website. It's public knowledge. I didn't come here to have a phone number. I come here to engage in solving problems that is causing me a lot of trouble. Absent of the freeway, I have 4 roads. I'm surrounding with roads. The westerly side road is gone. I have to vacate it. The north side is the freeway. I have to vacate it. Half of Enrique Fermi is gone because access control point. I had to go to a completely different plan. I couldn't balance my site. I end up with major dirt deficient. They went to the same site, to the north half. They graded it. They didn't need the dirt. They gave him a great gift of public fund. They graded his site, so he got a better offer because the site is graded. And also, they didn't need the dirt. The dirt is stockpiled on 905. They didn't need it. They take it, they stockpile it. They didn't use it. It's still there. You want me to go and get you a videotape of it? It's still there.
Mr. Hanna, do you have any other new points that you want to bring forward to the commission, please?
My biggest point is, based on Mr. Mario also Delgado in the letter here said, you expressed additional concern that your encroachment process was long. Mario told you that Caltrans is committed to work with you to help you with the permit. He stated giving the sensitivity and the scope of the project, a special Caltrans design manager would be assigned to your permit. I went to submit my permit. It was blocked. I had my engineer call to engage with Mr. Webster in regard to submitting our drainage. He was refused to speak with.
Have you submitted your application to the County of San Diego yet?
Yes, sir. I submitted my application to the county in February 11. My engineer wrote to Mr. Orso. Do you want me to read you what he wrote?
I'd just like to know the status of your application.
My application is an active application.
Is the environmental work complete yet?
My environmental work is indeed, my report is complete and ready to go. Unfortunately, the process is you go to the county for a pre-application meeting, you post deposit, you hire all your consultants. We've done with all the consultants. The only two consultants that are pending the approval of Caltrans is the architect to come up with a design and the traffic to show how much the traffic impact. We cannot go forward unless we have boundaries with that. They don't want to give us the boundaries. They don't want to solve the problem. They want to continue with this. This matter was expressed in my letter, my engineer letter, February 11 to Mr. Mario Orso Delgado. Also, the same language that the county have given him is also expressed in July 21st to my response to Mr. Webster email. Also, it was written in my written request for what they need to know.
I've been presented with a letter here from the County of San Diego that certifies that Mr. Hanna does not have an active permit application open with the County of San Diego Department of Planning and Development Services.
Okay.
This letter was dated December 9th, 2013.
In order to...
I don't want to get into the argument here.
Okay.
We have a resolution of necessity that
I understand.
that we need to discuss.
I understand. In order to have active application, in my opinion, is you go for a pre-application. They advise you to do all the necessary studies. We've done with all the necessary studies except two that are pending the outcome. We cannot go with a final submittal till we have our architect and, again, traffic impact. Those two are pending the outcome of that result. Those are also our position in writing with Caltrans. Mr. Orso knows that, and he knows that we cannot go any further than that, any further, till we solve this matter.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to do, is solve how much property you have left.
I made concessions. I talked to Lori. I said I'll accept everything to August 27. I'll accept the 129 straight line. I'll accept the east. Okay, now we have information to tell us what the drainage, this information just came after our request here, but I enraged him.
But I think Ms. Berman stated.
I'm
that
sorry?
The director of District 11 stated that she would work with you on this new proposal, which they haven't had a chance to study yet. But
What new proposal?
We need the proposal of your engineer. Wasn't this your engineer who presented this?
This is the same exact proposal going back to August 27. That's all we have. All we need, could I come here for a minute?
She admitted she hadn't seen it yet.
Okay. This is what they came back, the upper hatchet. This straight line here is August 27 proposal by Caltrans. I'll accept it. I'll also accept the back east area here because it was reduced from the original. I'll accept it. I'll accept the easement for the dirt here and the road. The road and this I need help from them to vacate it upon me submitting my encroachment permit and get rid of it so I can build my building. If this is here, I can't build that building or that building. I have to come down up to here to start building.
Well, I think, Lori, can you come to the microphone, please? What you're proposing was a revocable easement where that drainage area was, right?
Right, the drainage easement is all revocable.
So as soon as he has his approved plans, he gets that property back.
That's right.
He can build that drainage thing, and he has his full use of his property.
That's right.
I'm in the development business. I understand exactly what you're saying, and I think you have a solution here. And I would just go with it and work with them on taking another look at the piping alternative.
No, excuse me, we need the resolution of what we have presented in the book item today. That doesn't mean that we won't continue to negotiate with you as we acquire the easements.
Are you accepting?
I have not seen this to accept it. I have to do
you
the
already have it.
analysis. Okay.
You already have it. It was.
I think you guys are closer in agreement than you think you are.
Mr. Chairman, I was just conferring with Mr. Webster. In concept, he agrees with where we're going with it. You can go over with your resolution, and we'll work out the details. This commission does not have to listen to this.
Thank you. Thank you both. What's the pleasure of the commission?
Move the resolution to discuss.
I have a motion for Commissioner Gardino, seconded by Commissioner Assimi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Stephen, item number 5.
Yes, Commissioners. Under item number 5, the department has received an order of, has received the entry permit, so the resolution is withdrawn.
Number 5. Number 6?
Okay, Commissioners, under item 6, we actually will be stipulating that the appearance instructions for items 6, 7, 8, and 9 are the same and as for item number 4, and I will not repeat them. Please note that items 6 through 9 relate to the same $275 million I-15, I-215 DeVore interchange reconstruction and truck bypass lane project. The department's original concept design required more property and in some cases total acquisitions of property rights. The project was approved by the Commission for the design-build-delivery method, and the chosen design builder made significant changes to the geometry of the project, resulting in reduced right-of-way needs. Now, to accommodate the department's presentation sequence, they have asked that number 7 be done first before number 6. So I'll continue on with number 7. Under this item, the Commission scheduled an appearance at the request of Attorney Michael Kehoe, who is representing property owner Henry Olivier, who has the following issues. The offer of compensation is not valid, the drainage easement is inadequate, and the property owner questions why the property design was changed. District 8 Director Bassem Mouam is ready to make the department's presentation, to be followed by property owner or his representative.
Bassem?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Bassem Moualem, and I'm the District 8 Director. Today, I'll be requesting your approval for resolutions of necessity adoptions for 9 properties needed for the I-15-215 DeVore Interchange Design Build project. Before I begin describing the need for these 9 properties, I'd like to provide a general overview of the project. This will save time in that I'll not need to provide a separate project overview for each of the 9 properties I'm presenting. Project is located in the rural community of DeVore, near the city of San Bernardino at the junction of the I-15-215 in the county of San Bernardino, as highlighted in red. Segment of I-15 north of the I-215 interchange through the Cajon Pass provides a critical link between Southern California and the high desert, linking the Inland Empire with the high desert communities such as Victorville and Barstow. The roadway provides direct linkages to US 395 and I-40, as well as connecting to such long-distance destinations as Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Reno, and all points east. I-15 has a critical role in the national goods movement network. The project limits extend along I-15 from south of Glen Helen Parkway to north of Kenwood Avenue, and along I-215 from south of DeVore Road to the I-15 junction. The proposed project reduces existing operational deficiencies at the I-15-215 interchange, facilitates good movement, reduces existing and forecasted traffic congestion, reduces freeway traffic diversions to local streets, and upgrades the I-15-215 interchange. This project is a design-build project. The department, in cooperation with Sandbag, partnered to facilitate these improvements. Sandbag is the sponsor for this project, and the department is the responsible agency for design-build procurement. The project report environmental document was approved on February 29, 2012. The geometry approved in this document and shown here was used as the baseline by 4 design-build teams in pursuit of this contract. Out of the 4 proposers, only the successful proposer made significant changes to the geometry that substantially reduced the right-of-way needed for the project and improved the operational characteristics of the interchange. I'll briefly touch on 3 of these changes in this overview. This slide shows 2 areas that changed with the design builder's proposal as circled in purple. The area labeled change number 1 shows the DeVore Road southbound I-215 hook ramps that were part of the baseline design. The area labeled change number 2 represents the location of a truck bypass and on-ramp that were revised from the baseline design. Under the first change, the DeVore Road southbound ramps were replaced by the design builder with a more standard diamond interchange. A diamond interchange operates more efficiently and better meets driver expectations. To accommodate the revisions to the on-ramp and truck bypass at change number 2, the design builder will utilize the existing northbound I-15 road bed for the truck bypass and will construct a new road bed for northbound I-15. These changes resulted in a reduction of right-of-way needs. 18 parcels were decertified as no longer needed for the project. The third change made was near Kenwood Avenue. Southbound 15-215 bridge separation was shifted approximately 3,000 feet to the south. The design change allowed for a reduction of right-of-way near Kenwood Avenue and shifted the widening further south to an area where there is vacant right-of-way belonging to Caltrans and the County of San Bernardino. This slide again shows the design builder's proposal with the 3 major changes made. This proposal was awarded the contract in November 2012. On August 14, 2013, an environmental revalidation was completed addressing all the changes that I had just described. As mentioned, these changes resulted in significant reductions in right-of-way needs for several parcels. Of the 9 parcels I'll present today, 4 of them are affected by these design changes, namely San Bernardino Development and Hotel, Sigman, and Olivier. This concludes my project overview, and if there are no questions, I'll begin my presentation of these 9 properties for which we're requesting resolutions of necessity. My first presentation is for the Olivier property. The property owners are Mr. Henry Olivier and Mrs. Elena Viscal Olivier, who are represented by attorneys Michael Leifer and Michael Kehoe. This slide shows the location of the Olivier property within the project. The parcel is located in the eastern portion of the project next to the I-215 freeway and is positioned between the southbound I-215 freeway and Cajon Boulevard, just east of DeVore Road. This parcel is required to widen the I-215 and reconfigure the DeVore Road ramps. This slide shows a closer view of the Olivier property with the existing freeway condition. The green line represents the perimeter of the property. The Olivier property is approximately 2.62 acres of vacant land with no on-site improvements. The blue areas show the baseline design relative to the parcel. The solid blue line represents the current fill lines required for this design. For the baseline design, the I-215 southbound hook ramps for the DeVore Road interchange would have passed through the middle of the Olivier property, requiring its full acquisition. This again shows the Olivier property with the existing freeway condition. This slide shows the final design, which eliminated the hook ramps, replaced them with a traditional diamond interchange. A diamond interchange is preferred because it operates more efficiently and better meets driver expectations. The light blue solid line represents the bottom of the slope needed to widen the freeway. The project proposes a 4-to-1 slope. As this area has a higher than average accident rate, the flatter slopes are traversable and allow for recovery for runoff the road incidents. The dark blue arrows represent a drainage ditch that will handle on-site flows from the freeway. The area in dark blue represents a water quality basin to treat on-site drainage flows. Red line represents the proposed right-of-way. The area in white represents a temporary construction easement. The basin is located here because culverts, shown in pink, drain the median of I-215 just upstream of the basin location. By collecting the water at this location, downstream flows can be metered and the ditch size kept to a minimum. Mr. Olivier and his attorneys contend that Sandbag and Caltrans has not made a valid offer of compensation for the proposed acquisition. They contend the appraisal did not comply with Government Code Section 7267.2 because the sales used in the report were distressed sales and influenced by the project, and the comparables used were outdated. Sandbag and Caltrans has made a valid offer. At the time of the initial appraisals, the commercial market was relatively stagnant in the Devore area, resulting in few properties having been sold. The data used in the initial appraisals was the most current relevant data available to the appraisers. The data was verified as being reflective of the market and not sold at a discount or influenced by the project. The appraisal has been updated and a current offer was presented October the 25th, 2013. Mr. Olivier and his attorneys questioned the reason for changing the interchange design at Devore Road. The design change improved the baseline design as previously discussed by providing a diamond-type interchange. The proposed design eliminated the need for a full acquisition. The owner and his attorneys contend that the department delayed its decision to acquire a portion of their parcel instead of their entire property. The design change to the standard diamond interchange required approval by the department and FHWA, and also required mapping, preparation of the legal descriptions, and appraisal of the partial acquisitions. To the extent the owner and his attorney claim the department unreasonably delayed its decision to acquire only a portion of the subject property, this is an issue of alleged damages that should be determined through condemnation. Property owners and their attorneys questioned the drainage plan along I-215 adjacent to the proposed acquisitions. Specifically, they contend the ditch capacity is insufficient to handle a greater than 25-year storm event. The drainage was designed in accordance with Caltrans standards for on-site drainage and provides for a 25-year storm event. This considerably exceeds the standards used by local agencies and the national standards used by FHWA and AASHTO. Designing for a larger storm event would require site-specific justifications, would require greater impacts such as additional right-of-way. For the ditches included in this project, the use of a greater standard is not warranted or justified. With that, I'd like to summarize the department has demonstrated for this property that the public interest and necessity require the proposed project, that this project is planned and located in a manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury, that the property sought to be condemned is necessary for the proposed project, and that an offer of just compensation has been made to the owner of record in accordance with Government Code 7267.2. The department asks that you adopt the resolution of necessity for the Olivier property. Thank you.
Any questions from the commission? Okay. Can we hear from, is it Michael?
Yes, Mike Leifer.
Leifer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Mike Leifer on behalf of the Oliviers. and several other property owners that you're going to hear about shortly. You know, I note that Caltrans just presented how much in the way of change has been made to this project, all of the sudden. And there have been significant changes that the director has pointed out, and they have happened very suddenly. There was a very long environmental process. There was a lot of work that was done with the county of San Bernardino, and there was an envelope, and there were takes that were identified based upon that exhaustive environmental process. Then there's a design-build project. As you're aware, design-build projects often have significant changes to them. What we learned from Mr. Olivier's point of view, who's a longtime landowner in the area, he's a geotechnical professional in the area. What he learned was that the property that was a full take for a long time because of the environmental review suddenly was a shape impacted, topographically impacted, partial take where his property remainder was suddenly going to satisfy Caltrans drainage requirements on a perpetual basis. So we had a condemnation. We went through the condemnation review process with staff and met with staff there. And I want to comment that, first of all, what we have, and this is the same problem that we have on all of the properties that we're going to see today, we have no resolution of necessity to review. We're not provided by staff with the resolution of necessity that this commission is going to consider adoption. We have a lot of staff reports. We have a lot of things floating around in the air, but as you know, the resolution of necessity, or should know, the resolution of necessity becomes essentially the deed that Caltrans wants to the property. We don't have the deed. The deed includes, for example, the specific rights sought to be taken in the temporary construction easement. We don't have the time that the state proposes to start the temporary construction easement. We have some information as to the end date, but not the start date. So if you don't have the benefit of having that resolution of necessity in front of you in your significant notebooks, you should have it before you adopt it. We don't have it, and we're the property owner. With regard to the temporary construction easement, we don't know when it's purported to start. With regard to the compliance with government code, you note that we did bring up to the state that their offer was invalid. And then Mr. Mualim indicated that they updated their offer with other comparable sales. But what they didn't change is a consideration of the project influence zoning. As Caltrans points out in its staff report, that Caltrans has been working with the County of San Bernardino on this project for a long time. And the zoning impacting these properties along this reach of the highway is project influenced. And that zoning, bless you, sir, that zoning is project influenced, and that zoning was considered to devalue the Olivier property for purposes of analysis. Caltrans asserts that compliance with the government code is not something that it has to show to you at this hearing. That's simply wrong. If the appraisal is fundamentally flawed or legally invalid, the compliance with the government code cannot be asserted. So we've got the scope of the taking that we have concerns about. We have the design and compliance with drainage impacts that we have concerns about. What we've heard today is that the drainage facility that was designed meets the county standards. That is not correct. At the hearing that we attended,
It's all compensation.
should I proceed, sir? At the meeting we attended, it was the condemnation review meetings that many people were there. The Oliviers were there, many people from the district were there, many of their consultants were there. It was conceded in several of those meetings that Caltrans does not comply with the county requirements with regard to drainage, with regard to the highway. And that was unrebutted at the hearing. So
Can you
we
wrap-
have concern.
Can you wrap this up a little bit? We've got a long agenda.
Sure.
And we got more properties that you're going to represent.
I understand. So, drainage needs work. TCE, uncertain. Offer, invalid. That's the Olivier property. And the take has changed.
Okay. Any questions
so-
from the commission?
What we would like is to put this over for your next hearing. We will continue to meet with the district and their consultants. But this adoption, which is, kind of at the end of a gun, because the district has said we have a design build contract we have to go through with. So we think also that Caltrans is put in the position where you have essentially no discretion to put this off. So, for all those reasons, we think the commission should find that we have not been given the sufficient information, and this hearing should be continued.
Any questions of the speaker? Most of what I heard, Mr. Leifer, is really compensation oriented. I mean, the design, it pretty much, we don't do compensation here. The courts do compensation, but we don't do compensation.
You do design, and what we're saying is the drainage design is inadequate, and the amount of the take is inadequate.
And if the property is damaged because of drainage design, it becomes a compensation issue. Okay, what's the pleasure of the commission? I have a motion by Commissioner Fromer and second by Commissioner Tavaloni to accept staff recommendation. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
What actual motion just passed? Where's the resolution? Where's the text of
We
the
do all
resolution
the-
that just passed?
The resolution is prepared after we take action.
Then how do you know what you're adopting?
We have plots of what the land is.
Which document is the commission adopting? Which one? Which page? So we know.
We're adopting the staff report presented to us in our package.
Okay?
They're all public documents.
I have many documents from them, and some of them controvert each other. So I'd like to know which one you're adopting. If you're saying you're adopting one page of the staff report, I'd like to know that.
Yeah, Stephen, can you give him a copy of the staff report, please?
Certainly.
Okay, and thank you. Stephen, you were going to item number 6?
Yes, we are going to go to now to item number 6. And under item number 6, the commission scheduled an appearance at the request of Attorney Michael Kehoe, who is representing 5 property owners, all with the same issues as follows. The offer of compensation is not valid. The drainage easement is inadequate. The take is excessive because a retaining wall should be built, and the property owners question why the project design was changed. Again, Bassam is ready to make the department's presentation.
Thank you. The next presentation is for the resolution of necessity for the following 5 properties: the Ekrot property, the Grange property, the Lee property, the Damron Family Trust property, and the Bird property. Attorneys Michael Leifer and Michael Kehoe also represent these property owners. Here you can see the location of the 5 parcels in relation to the project area. These parcels are located in the eastern portion of the project, adjacent to the I-215 freeway. The parcels are positioned between southbound 215 and Cajon Boulevard, just east of DeVoe Road. Area of acquisition for these 5 parcels was not impacted by the design builder's changes. This slide shows a closer view of the 5 properties adjacent to the southbound I-215. Access to the 5 properties is from Cajon Boulevard. Now I'd like to go through the parcel-specific impacts. Similar to the Olivier property, the 5 subject parcels along this stretch are required to accommodate the freeway widening, side slopes, and drainage features. Starting with the Eckroth property outlined in green, property is approximately 2 acres in size with on-site improvements that include an office building. The land is currently being used as a contractor storage yard. Area in black is the existing freeway. Blue arrows near the existing right-of-way limit represents the existing drainage flow line that meanders along the existing Caltrans right-of-way fence. Areas in blue represents the final design. The contour lines represent the freeway slope. Dark blue area near the proposed right-of-way represents a water quality basin to treat water from the freeway. The blue arrows represent a new ditch that will be built within the proposed right-of-way to contain on-site drainage flows from the freeway. Red line represents the proposed right-of-way. Again, the ditch and side slopes are common to all 5 of these parcels and accommodate the freeway widening. Fee area is shaded in green and is approximately 0.54 acres. The area in white represents a temporary construction easement and is approximately 0.05 acres. For all 5 properties in this presentation, the only improvement impacted within the acquisition portion is a chain link fence. This view of the Eckroth property looks southerly from the I-215 freeway. Picture shows where the proposed acquisition is located. Next property is the Grange property, which is 1 acre in size, with on-site improvements that include a storage building and paved area extending approximately the length of the building. Project proposes a fee acquisition of approximately 0.25 acres and a temporary construction easement of 0.02 acres. This will leave a remainder of 0.75 acres in the after condition. This is a view of the Grange property looking southerly from the I-215 freeway where the proposed acquisition is located. Next property is the Lee property, which is 1 acre in size with on-site improvements that include a single-family residence, an attached garage, and a detached storage shed behind the residence. Project proposes a fee acquisition of approximately 0.2 acres and a temporary construction easement of 0.02 acres. This will leave a remainder of 0.8 acres in the after condition. This is a view of the Lee property looking south from the I-215 freeway where the proposed acquisition is located. Next property is the Damron property, which is 2 acres in size with on-site improvements that include a single-family residence. Project proposes a fee acquisition of approximately 0.2 acres and a temporary construction easement of 0.05 acres. This will leave a remainder of 1.8 acres in the after condition. This is a view of the Damron property looking south from the 215 freeway where the proposed acquisition is located. Next property is the Bird property, which is 1 acre in size with on-site improvements that include a single-family residence and a metal building or a workshop. Project proposes a fee acquisition of approximately 0.09 acres of land, a temporary construction easement of 0.02. This will leave a remainder of 0.91 acres in the after condition. This is a view of the Bird property looking south from the I-215 freeway where the proposed acquisition is located. The property owner's attorney contend that Sandbag and Caltrans has not made valid offers of compensation for the proposed acquisitions. They contend the appraisals did not comply with Government Code 7267.2 because the sales used in the reports were distressed sales and influenced by the project. and the comparables used were outdated. Sandbag and Caltrans has made valid offers. At the time of the initial appraisals, the commercial market was relatively stagnant in the Devore area, resulting in few properties having been sold. Data used in the initial appraisals was the most current, relevant data available to the appraisers. Data was verified as being reflective of the market and not sold at a discount or influenced by the project. Appraisals have been updated, and the current offers were presented on October 25th, 2013. Property owners and their attorneys questioned the drainage plan along I-215 adjacent to the proposed acquisition. Specifically, they contend the ditch capacity is insufficient to handle a greater than 25-year storm event. Drainage was designed in accordance with Caltrans standards for on-site drainage and provides for a 25-year storm event. This considerably exceeds the standards used by local agencies and the national standards used by FHWA and AASHTO. Designing for a larger storm event would require site-specific justification, would require greater impacts such as additional right-of-way. For the ditches included in this project, the use of a greater standard is not warranted or justified. The property owners and their attorneys questioned why a block wall was not considered in order to reduce the acquisition area and requested justification on why design opted to go with a 4-to-1 slope. Property owners and their attorneys were informed that 4-to-1 slopes were selected due to safety considerations, as they are traversable and recoverable for errant vehicles leaving the roadway. This also provides for a 30-foot clear recovery zones, where a retaining wall and barrier would create a fixed object close to the traveled way. There is accident history within this area of vehicles leaving the roadway. A design using a 4-to-1 slope represents a safer alternative for motorists at this location. Property owners and their attorneys would like to know why the water quality basin is needed in this specific area. Property owners and their attorneys were informed that the basin is designed to be located where it ties into existing drainage infrastructure. This keeps the size of the ditch down and reduced impacts to downstream properties. Best management practices like this basin are included in various areas project-wide as required by the Regional Water Quality Control Board to meet water quality requirements. In this particular area, the basin has been located and designed to reduce downstream peak flows and treat the water to improve runoff water quality. The property owners and their attorneys requested a copy of the EIR and believe the existing EIR does not address the design builder's design. A copy of the project environmental document was provided. Environmental revalidation was approved on August 14, 2013 to satisfy the environmental requirements associated with the design builder modifications as required by law. The department asks that you separately adopt these resolutions of necessity for the Eckrott, Grange, Lee, Damron Trust, and Bird properties. Thank you.
Any questions? Commissioner Arp?
There appear to be quite a few adjacent properties that are all along there. Did you reach agreement with a lot of these other properties? Because they seem to have, I would think, from this description, similar issues.
Yes, Commissioner, we have. There were about 30 parcels in total, and you can see that alongside there is vacant land, meaning that all those properties, we've negotiated a settlement and we've already have acquisition of the land. And so that's was already been resolved. Those are the only 5 that are left now that we are having issues with.
Okay, thank you.
I was going to ask the same question. Thank you. Mr. Leifert?
In the same report that you were provided, it says that, and this is on page 6 of 12, attachment A, if you want to look at the bottom of the page, design revisions after public review. Portions of the southbound I-215 slope east and west of Devore Road were replaced with retaining walls to minimize anticipated acquisitions in that area. We asked for the same. The department didn't even think about it and is saying that it wants 4-to-1 slopes on our properties. And the paragraph below that, metal beam guardrail is now planned to be installed along the southbound I-15 exit ramp to Kenwood Avenue. This change will reduce anticipated right-of-way requirements in this area. We asked the same type of hardware be put adjacent to our properties. The department is saying no, without further analysis. We're not being treated as these other properties are in the same area. With regard to the drainage issues, there are drainage issues all over this area, and we are being used as the drainage facility for the highway. The property owners requested redesign and are justifiable within their rights in doing so. I also note that the compliance discussion with the government code section is similar to the compliance discussion that we had with regard to the Oliviers. I again request that we be provided the actual resolution of necessity that you're considering, because you don't have a resolution of necessity in front of you. I don't have it, and I request that this matter be continued until the next hearing.
What's the pleasure of the commission?
Yes, sir.
Joe? Joe?
I can.
The drainage problem, what is your problem with the drainage?
The drainage problem is that there's more impervious surface that Caltrans is now draining because the highway is going to be bigger, and that drainage is going next to our property and onto our property. Caltrans is only designing for a 25-year event. The county, in the development of our properties for highest and best use, requires drainage for greater than a 25-year event. So basically, these folks are going to have to design for highest and best use purposes, or even if they don't develop, they are going to be inundated by Caltrans water from the highway.
Is this the normal flow of the water as it is now?
No, because there's the highway goes between these folks. They're on the lower side of the highway. The highway is higher than they are, and the water from the highway will come onto their property. And Caltrans long ago changed the normal flow of water in that area by the construction of the highway. So now it's going to be a much bigger road, and it is going to change what was changed probably decades ago when the highway was built in the first place. Moreover, sir, as I'm sure you're aware, drainage requirements have changed and by counties for private property owners over the years significantly. So on-site retention and other drainage issues have changed. For example, years ago, Caltrans didn't do bioswales. They have to do bioswales now. They have to do detention basins now. So the burden on these folks who own 1 acre sites is disproportionate, because now they have to handle this drainage burden from a bigger freeway and at a lower standard. We're not saying Caltrans doesn't have lower standards for drainage retention. We're just saying it's lower than what we have to comply with. So we're being burdened by Caltrans not having to comply with the same rules that we do.
But drainage basins have been around for a long time.
Yes.
Yes. No, they have been.
Yes.
They didn't just start yesterday.
I agree. There was no bioswale next to these folks, and the highway was smaller, and they had more land to deal with any drainage issues. Now they're going to have less land, higher standards, more water than they had before. And we think a design could better address those issues. And we think Caltrans is in a better position to do that design and address the water issue that it is creating.
Any other questions from the commission?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Gardino?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Might Caltrans address the comment from the attorney that the other properties have received benefits from Caltrans that these properties have not, and if so, what were the differences in the circumstances that would have made it different?
Bassam, do you understand the question?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Forgive me for not being as articulate as I need to be then. The attorney contends that those property owners who have worked with you received different benefits that his clients have not received, which was why they were able to agree with you. And he contends that if those steps that the others received were granted to his clients, then this would be addressed. And if I've misrepresented what the attorney said, I'm sure he will correct me as well. Okay. But there were two items that you mentioned that the others received that you contend your clients did not receive. I'd like Caltrans' response to that.
I don't think that we have given any differential treatment to these properties and his property. I think this design is the best design that Caltrans could have done. The detention along the freeway is and the flows is the way we currently do design practices. The BMPs are in standards with the way that we're supposed to do it by the Water Quality Board, and I don't think that we've done any differential treatment with him or the other properties. I'll ask somebody from maybe Jonathan, you can come up and expand on this.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jonathan Den Hartog. I'm the project engineer on the Caltrans side. I do oversight of the design builders work. The locations that were mentioned about placing walls next to the property and placing guardrail refer to 3 separate locations. Two of the locations are along the DeVore Road on-ramp and off-ramp, which are lower speed locations. They don't have the same design speed. Yeah, so if you see DeVore Road there, a little bit to the upper left of the screen, the southbound on-ramp and off-ramp on there. There's a couple of short walls. These are approximately 5 feet in height, maybe 20 feet long or so, that are being used because they're a low-speed situation for an on-ramp and an off-ramp. They don't have the same issues with accidents that we have along the mainline freeway where all these 5 properties are located. So we don't have the same concerns about run-off-the-road accidents. The third location that was mentioned, which is up by Kenwood Avenue, which is north of these properties on the I-15 freeway. It's for the southbound off-ramp to Kenwood. In that location, we did not put a 4-to-1 side slope. We put guardrail instead. Again, we looked at the accident history on that off-ramp. The accidents that occur along that off-ramp are not run-off-the-road accidents. They are primarily rear-end collisions. So we felt comfortable with putting guardrail there instead. Again, it's also a lower speed application than the mainline freeway. So that was our justification for those locations.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Fromer?
Yes, a question for the attorney for the property owners is, so we're not going to get in, and it's not our purview to get into design here. Our purview is really to find out whether the project is going to be is planned and done in a manner that's going to be for the most public good with the least possible injury to the property owner. So when you're talking about runoff water, are you contending that there's not adequate drainage on these properties, that somehow they're going to be adversely impacted by water coming off the roadway? Is that your contention?
Well, I think it is your purview to determine whether the project is designed. I mean, that's one of the things that Caltrans is asking you to do is pass on its design. And
so what is your contention? Because we have to balance. I have to balance necessity for the public good
with least
with the
private
least amount of
injury.
injury to the private party. So what is your contention with regards to the water and the runoff? That's what I'm trying to get my head around.
It should be piped past our properties. That would be the simplest way of doing it.
So you're asking them to pipe the water past the property?
Yes, sir.
Correct? Okay. Okay. Hassan, do you want to comment on that? This is the one issue that I think I'm curious about.
Well, this is a
in
standard.
terms of the runoff. So the contention is these are small properties. They're an acre, which is not that big, and if they're disproportionately impacted by runoff, somehow it's going to affect the use. So you want to.
This is the existing flow pattern. We're really not changing it. We're adding on to the pavement and we're bringing it down and we're channeling it away. This is on all the projects, and this is a standard design. And our hydraulics team is one of the best, and they've looked at it, and that's the best way they can mitigate that. And we stand by our design.
So, Bassam, I guess what I'm kind of on the water issue too here. This is, everything's been designed for a 25-year storm event, right? So,
correct.
If there's a 25-year storm event or less, the system that you've designed should work perfectly fine.
That's correct.
Correct? If we have a 100-year storm event, then the water's going to overflow on everyone's property. Correct?
Yes, but we're only, Commissioner, asking about on-site conditions here. This is draining the on-site. So we do a 25, we do a 50, we do a 100-year storm. This is just for on-site. And for the on-site, really the standards are 5 to 10-year flows, the design flows. We're doing 25. We're meeting and exceeding.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. Okay, any further questions from the commission? What's your pleasure?
I'm going to move the recommendation for the resolution of necessity.
I have a motion by Commissioner Fromer and second by Commissioner Tavaloni. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Commissioners, we will now move to item number 8. Under this item, the Commission scheduled an appearance at the request of Attorney Michael Leifer, who is representing property owner San Bernardino Hotel and San Bernardino Development Company. The property owner's issues are as follows. The offer of compensation is not valid. The drainage design is inadequate. In addition, the following issues relate to the San Bernardino Hotel property. The department is taking more property than needed and is not compensating the property owner for the soil that will be removed to build a drainage ditch and slope embankment. Also, there is an uneconomical remnant. Bassam is again ready to make the department's presentation.
Thank you. The next presentation is for the resolution of necessity for two properties, the San Bernardino Hotel and the San Bernardino Development properties. Property representative for both properties is George Ayub, who's represented by attorneys Michael Leifer and Michael Kehoe. The parcels are located in the northern portion of the project limits. Parcels are adjacent to both southbound Kenwood Avenue on-ramp and southbound I-15 freeway and are located in between I-15 and Cajon Boulevard, just south of Kenwood Avenue. This slide shows a closer view of both hotel properties with the existing freeway condition. Green line represents the perimeter of the properties. San Bernardino Development property is the smaller parcel to the left, adjacent to Kenwood Avenue. San Bernardino Hotel property is the larger parcel. Yellow line represents the existing Caltrans right-of-way. San Bernardino Development property is approximately 1.56 acres of vacant land with no on-site improvements. San Bernardino Hotel property consists of two parcels encompassing approximately 8.67 acres of vacant land with no on-site improvements. Power poles cross the San Bernardino Hotel property within an existing Southern California Edison easement. These poles connect to an overhead electrical line that spans over I-15. Please note that Cajon Boulevard south of Kenwood Avenue is currently closed to vehicular traffic by means of a locked gate, shown in red. Blue areas are the baseline design relative to both parcels. The dashed blue line represents the grading limits required for this design. For the baseline design, I-15 southbound truck bypass would have passed through the middle of San Bernardino Hotel property, requiring full acquisition of both parcels as shown in the shaded green area. Design would have also significantly impacted the Southern California Edison overhead lines and poles. Again, here is a closer view of both properties with the existing freeway condition. Existing access for San Bernardino development property is primarily from Kenwood Avenue, since vehicular traffic is prohibited via a locked gate shown in red on Cajon Boulevard south of Kenwood. San Bernardino Hotel property has no direct vehicular access from either Cajon or Kenwood Avenue. This shows the final design by the design builder who revised the design as part of their proposal. The blue areas are the final design relative to both parcels. Dashed blue lines show the grading limits required for this design. Solid red lines represent the proposed right-of-way needed from the San Bernardino Hotel parcel and the proposed access control required from the San Bernardino development parcel. This design substantially reduced the area needed from the San Bernardino Hotel and requires approximately 48 feet of access control from the San Bernardino development parcel. Note too that the reconnection of Cajon Boulevard will now provide over 1,200 feet of access directly from Cajon Boulevard. Area shaded in white represents a Southern California Edison utility easement to facilitate the relocation of existing Edison facilities. Fee area shaded in green is 2.18 acres. In summary, under the final design, the project requires a partial fee acquisition of vacant land for a total of 2.18 acres and utility easement of about 2.05 acres from the San Bernardino Hotel parcel. This will leave a remainder of 6.49 acres in the after condition. This is a view of the two properties looking south from Kenwood Avenue Cajon Boulevard intersection. Here is the gate prohibiting access along Cajon Boulevard. Note also the power poles which run across the San Bernardino Hotel property as previously mentioned. The owners contend that a portion of the San Bernardino Hotel parcel will be an uneconomic remnant to the owners as a result of the project. Area shown in pink on the lower right of the screen is the portion of the property that is being contended as an uneconomic remnant. In recognition of this concern of the property owners, the department made an alternate offer to acquire the remnant on November 8, 2013, subject to the owner's written consent. However, to date, the owners have not provided this consent. The owners have concerns that the project will increase drainage flows onto the properties. The terrain of San Bernardino Hotel property is higher than the freeway where it abuts Caltrans right-of-way, and no additional drainage flows will be directed toward the properties. An existing 48-inch culvert next to the San Bernardino development property will be extended within existing Caltrans right-of-way to accommodate the freeway widening. No additional inlets will be connected to this culvert, and the discharge will not increase. The department asks that you separately adopt these resolutions of necessity. Thank you.
Mr. Leifer.
Yes, thank you. If I could ask for, I don't know if it'll show up on this screen, but if we could show the aerial exhibits again that were just shown with the red and the green lines. The one that shows the areas of cut and fill, the prior one, if you could. That's good. Okay. On these properties, commissioners, as you know, the purview of the commission is to determine what's necessary to take. Okay? Why is Caltrans proposing to take from the red line in fee? Why do they need fee? We were here earlier. We saw that with regard to the Hanna property, Caltrans San Diego District was doing what? Taking slope easements. Caltrans doesn't need fee to that red line. They want to cut into our slope. All they need is a slope easement. They don't need fee. Why are they taking fee? Because, as we pointed out in our letter, Caltrans wants the soil on our property to balance the rest of the soil on the project. So they're taking 130,000 cubic yards from our property, which is valued at, by their own construction person at the condemnation review hearing, between $8 and $12 a cubic yard, from our site to use elsewhere in its project. At the same time, just so you know, Caltrans is offering 20 cents per square foot for our land. So taking over $1 million worth of soil and offering $20,000 relating to this take made the property owner who is here today concerned that the scope of the taking was inadequate as a matter of law. Caltrans doesn't need fee. It only needs a slope easement. If it needs our soil, as it was clear from the Hannah project that there's a soil issue, Caltrans should buy the soil that it needs to use elsewhere. It's a construction commodity. It should compensate for that amount in the appraisal, or it should not take it. So, your purview is to determine, to take from this property owner only what the state needs. It does not need fee for the taking or the construction of this project as to our property. With regard to the resolution of necessity, again, we have no resolution. It has not been provided by staff. You have no resolution in front of you. A staff report is not a resolution. With regard to the uneconomic remnant, what we were told is, yes, we will buy that remnant area because it's inaccessible to you based upon what we're doing, but we want to buy it based upon 20 cents a square foot. So, no, to date, the property owner has not agreed that the $8 to $12 cubic yard of soil should be sold to Caltrans for 20 cents a square foot. So, even though that area is significantly damaged with regard to the access impairment, there has been, to date, no written acceptance of the uneconomic remnant offer, which was conditioned upon 20 cents a square foot. Moreover, Caltrans is taking a utility easement of 0.05 acres. No way to get there. Not taking a temporary construction easement or an access easement to get to its utility easement. So as we pointed out in our letter, Caltrans is both taking too much and too little. We pointed these items out at the condemnation review panel, and we did not get any acceptable response. Thank you.
Any questions? Yeah. Commissioner Inman?
Bazem, do you want to just talk a little bit about when you all decide to use an easement and when you all to do the fee simple?
You know, whether we use an easement or whether we use it in fee, we need to go there. We need to widen the freeway. So this is, with all due respect, this is simply a compensation issue. Now, as was referenced about District 11, this is a temporary situation for District 11. That's why they're taking an easement there. And I have District 11 maybe chime in on that. When we looked at the design, we need to widen the freeway, we need to cut into the cut slopes, and so we acquired the property in fee. It was nothing about relocating the dirt, trying to get it for lesser price. This is simply the need for the project. And most of the cut that you see on the freeway where we're doing it, it's actually within Caltrans right-of-way. And I would ask Bill maybe to come in and chime in on this. He is the designer with URS. Is that correct, what I just said?
Yeah, that's correct. Hi, my name is Bill Dane. I'm with URS. I'm part of the design build team that is, I'm the design manager and engineer of record. The area that's been pointed out, what I pointed out to Bassam is when we met with Mr. Leifer and the group back in September for the second level, was when this issue was raised. And one point of confusion on the amount of material is he asked us, well, how much material is being moved in this area? And in actuality, if you look at the contours on this screen, most of the dirt, majority of it is within existing Caltrans right-of-way. The only places where it bounces out is what you see on where the contours go beyond the existing right-of-way line. So a lot of the dirt is already on Caltrans right-of-way. The other thing I wanted to mention is that this design in this area, the southbound on-ramp from Kenwood Avenue, the profile of it comes off of Kenwood and ties into the southbound, the I-215 southbound ramp, which is controlled by the grade of basically controlled by the grade of the I-15 roadway. So this is all in the same plane. So the necessity for the reason that these cut slopes exist is not because we're trying to take dirt from this parcel. It's because this is what the design needs to be in order to meet geometric standards.
Okay. Commissioner Fromer? Okay. Any other questions?
Just briefly, if I might, the gentleman who told us 130,000 square feet was that gentleman's, cubic yards, sorry, was that gentleman's colleague. It wasn't that gentleman. He was the construction gentleman, and it was Mr. Nelson. And he was the one who said, in answer to my direct question, it was 130,000 cubic yards approximately, and it was about $8 to $12 a square foot per cubic yard.
Okay.
That was being removed from the property.
Thank you. It's a pleasure of the commission.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Tavaloni, second by Commissioner Fromer.
No. If I could have you
We're going to break this down into two resolutions.
Into two resolutions, yes. First, if you could.
Resolution C-21131. Is that your motion? Is that your second?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll deal with Resolution C-21132. Have a motion? Have a motion by Commissioner Arp, seconded by Commissioner Tavaloni. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And so we're going to go back up and redo number 6 by resolution, if that's okay. So this one is Resolution C-21125. No, the staff wants us to go through these individual resolution numbers. So I need a motion. I have a motion by Commissioner Simi, seconded by Commissioner Tavaloni. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to Resolution C-21126.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Arp, seconded by Commissioner Dunn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution C-21127.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Simi, second by Commissioner Arp. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution C-21128.
Move it.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Simi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And the last one we have here is Resolution C-21129.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tavaloni, seconded by Commissioner Simi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're moving on to
And
item number 9.
Mr. Chair, could I have you also do under tab 7 by calling out the resolution number also?
On which one, Stephen?
On tab number 7.
Okay. I thought we just did that by...
Oh, just to call out the resolution number so it's clear for the record.
All right, Resolution C-21130.
Second.
So a motion by Commissioner Tavaloni, seconded by Commissioner Gardino. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Now, number 9. We're really
Yes,
moving along.
Commissioners, thank you very much for indulging us. And now on to tab number 9. Under this item, the Commission scheduled an appearance at the request of Attorney Scott Dexter, who is representing property owner Timothy Sigmund. The property owner's issues are as follows. The department has not been dealing with them in a fair and honest way. The department has not provided them with a maintenance agreement that spells out exactly the right terms and conditions and obligations between the parties with regard to the construction, operation, and maintenance of a drainage basin and easement. Again, Bassam will make the department's presentation.
I'm glad this is the last one.
I hope so. Yeah.
My final presentation will cover the Sigmund Family Trust property. The property owners are Timothy A. Sigmund Sr. and Carol J. Sigmund of the Tim and Carol Sigmund Family Trust. They're represented by attorney Scott Dexter. This slide shows the subject parcel in green located in the middle of the project limits, just north of the I-15-215 interchange. Sigmund property outlined in green is on 5.14 acres of land, and on-site improvements include 2 single-family residences and an industrial storage building. A portion of the property is being used by the owner for his paving business. Baseline design proposed the construction of the northbound truck bypass, Devode Road on-ramp, and a debris basin within the Sigmund's property, requiring a full acquisition. During the negotiations for full acquisition, the property owners expressed their desire to keep the property. As previously described in my overview presentation, the design builder modified the design to use the existing northbound I-15 as the truck bypass and proposed a new roadbed further south for northbound car traffic, significantly minimizing the property area needed for the project. Revised design does not impact any of the improvements on the parcel and allowed for a change from full fee acquisition to a partial fee acquisition of 1.03 acres for a debris basin and a temporary construction easement of 0.06 acres. Subsequently, at the owner's request, the drainage area was changed from a partial fee to an approximate easement area of 1 acre, and the temporary construction easement was eliminated. With this design, we've accommodated the owner's desire to retain the property. Debris basin is a critical element of the drainage system under the interchange and cannot be eliminated. Let me explain. This is an aerial view of a natural ravine which channels flows to a 120-inch culvert located within Caltrans' existing right-of-way. Culvert runs underneath the interchange to Cajon Creek. The blue shading highlights the ravine as it passes through the edge of the Sigmund parcel. As fee owners to the middle of the ravine, the Sigmunds are currently responsible for maintenance of their half of this ravine. With the drainage easement, Caltrans will be responsible for this maintenance. In a major storm event, the ravine is subject to significant flows and debris. The debris runs directly into the culvert and can subject it to clogging. Currently, the ravine is not accessible to Caltrans maintenance to remove debris. In a large storm event, if this culvert is clogged by debris, water will overtop the ravine and spill onto the northbound 215 connector to southbound I-15. The project proposes to construct a debris basin and debris cage at the upstream end of the 120-inch pipe. The slide shows a debris basin design as identified by the light blue contour lines, a portion of which encroaches onto the Sigmund property. Red shaded area is the portion of the property where the drainage easement is proposed. The new basin will provide a location to contain the debris before it damages or plugs the pipe. The debris can later be removed by Caltrans maintenance through the means of an access road constructed for this purpose. Access road can be seen on the right side of the basin outside of the Sigmund property. This is a photo of the basin area taken from the northbound I-15 shoulder and looking northeast away from the freeway. Sigmund property is on the left side of the photo. The red shaded area is approximately the area where the drainage easement will be. The green line shows the approximate property line of the Sigmund parcel, and the dashed blue line shows the approximate boundary of the debris basin. Dimensions are provided to give a sense of the size of the proposed basin and the ravine. Owners and their attorney contend that the department should have informed them about how this project would impact their property before they began construction of the residence and related improvements in 2005 and completed such construction in 2007. The department received and did not object to the Sigmund's 2005 development plan. However, at that time, the department did not have any plans for this project. In December 2005, Sandbag completed its corridor study. The study did not identify impacts to any property. Rather, the study only determined whether a project was necessary. It was not until 2009, when this project was scoped and after the Sigmunds had completed construction of the residences, that Sandbag determined the Sigmunds' property could be impacted. We sincerely regret these circumstances and misunderstandings and have done everything we can to reduce the impacts to the property. We worked hard with the property owners to meet their requests, as I hope I've demonstrated today. Property owners and their attorney contends that the appraisal should have included severance damages to the remainder. The appraisal considered severance damages. This is a compensation issue and will be resolved in court. Property owners have a tentative parcel map with the county, and they would like to confirm that this map is not impacted by the drainage easement. The department has secured correspondence from Heidi Duron, supervising planner for the county of San Bernardino, confirming this acquisition will not impact the tentative parcel map. Property owners and attorney contend that the terms of the drainage easement need to include the specific terms, conditions, and obligations with regards to construction and maintenance responsibilities. A legal description of the easement area has been provided, and the specifics of the easement will be addressed in the deed. The department will negotiate a maintenance agreement to address concerns regarding maintenance. Sigmunds contend that the debris basin will cause an increase in crime due to the access road. A chain link fence will be installed along Marion Avenue with a locked gate to restrict access to the maintenance road. The department has also offered to install an additional fence at the edge of the basin adjacent to the property. Department asks that you adopt this resolution of necessity. Thank you.
Any questions, Bassam? I have one.
Yes, sir.
Did I, maybe I misunderstood, but in the beginning, did you offer to buy this drainage basin?
Yes, the property?
No, I mean just the drainage basin.
Oh, the basin, yeah.
Now it's an easement, but did you offer to buy it?
Yeah, we said we'll take it in fee initially, 1 acre.
Right.
And they came back and they said they would like to do it in easement, and we accommodated them. We said, fine.
Okay. Thank you. Scott, next door. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Scott Dexter, attorney representing the Sigmunds. But first, I would like to introduce you to Tim Sigmund, who would have a few words for you, and then I'll follow up.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Good afternoon. I am Tim Sigmund, property owner of the said subject property. The reason why we feel there should have been information given to us in advance to our construction is when we applied for our building and building permits from the County of Building and Safety. They made a request that we get a non-objectional letter from Caltrans for this project to be built. We submitted our plans, and that came back, and we ended up going, I went to Caltrans. Let me get my notes here. Give me a second. On excuse me, just give me a second here. Well, on December the 10th, of 05-04, I went to Caltrans and met with Rosa Clark. That was in the forecasting department, and she told me that, and I also offered up or had to give them a proposed plan for our project. And at that time, it was asked of what the criteria is for the Caltrans. And she said that if they have any projects coming up within the next 5 to 10 years, they would consider that short term and they would not be approving of our project. She said anything over 10, 15 to 20 years would be long term and they'd approve, and at that time they would deal with acquiring properties to do such. So on February the 4th of 05, they faxed over the approval non-objectional letter that we ended up taking to the county, and we acquired our building permits. We finalized our homes June 1 of 07 and occupied there shortly after. Approximately 1 year later, June 15 of 08, went into a town hall meeting in DeVore in regards to the freeway reconstruction and how it would impact DeVore. While observing some plans there, 2A, 3, and 5, much to my surprise, I saw an orange line going through Tim and Carol and David's homes. I asked a gentleman there from one of the agencies what the orange line meant, and he replied it was existing right-of-way. And I told him that it was incorrect. It is not existing right-of-way, that it goes through our homes. I responded that you are here for community input for this project, but the information misrepresents the existing right-of-ways. All plans would, at that point, take us out completely, whichever plan they adopted. A year later, May 1409, we went to another town hall meeting, and they showed a 3A plan, which was presented to the community after the earlier one with the input from the community, which had the same incorrect orange lines. At this meeting, I suggested if they could put a retaining wall up so we could save our homes. Their response was, no, walls cost a lot of money. On June 4/11, we received a CD from Caltrans in regards to a DeVore interchange project. Our parcel was listed as a full acquisition on all plans, whichever one would be adopted. November 7/11, a letter came requesting temporary right to enter for preliminary site investigation for hazardous materials on site. So we thought it was time to hire legal counsel, and at that time, that's when we obtained Dexter Law. February the 29th of 12, Plan 3A was approved. On March the 12th of 12, we received a letter from Overland Pacific stating our property is required for the proposed project and needed appraisal. On April 5th, 12, we had a meeting on site with OPC, LSA Associates, Caltrans, and Sandbag. I presented 6 different layouts to consider, including a wall and a partial acquisition. And again, I was told walls cost a lot of money. One of my layouts included part of the neighbor's property. Then I was asked if the neighbor's property was available, and I said yes. I was then asked if they was to give back or make where we could get back the balance of our property that was not needed for the construction, which would be approximately 2 acres. Would this and the 2.5 acres next door work for us? I said, I think so. Then he then said, let us keep the full acquisition and wait on the appraisal. So we started to look at new layouts on the new building site and got prices on the new homes and what have you and a shop to rebuild next door. On August the 10th of 12, we had a meeting with OPC to present an offer to us. The appraisal was based on cost plus and needed to address a couple of items. So Dexter Law sent a letter to OPC on the additional items that needed to be addressed on the appraisal. It has never been addressed. On November the 21st of 12, a meeting was called by OPC and the team at our home to let us know there is a proposed adjusted right of way. It is preliminary, but they will know more in 30 days. And the good part to the new design change is they would be able to save lots of money and would no longer need to take our homes.
Mr. Sigmund, can you kind of summarize this? We've got a long, what is it that you're asking for?
I'm going through a process to let you know where the road we've been down for the last 5 years.
We have a whole report that kind of.
I understand, but we've had 5 years to sit and deal with this on a daily basis. So surely I have 5 minutes to.
Well, you've had more than 5 minutes, but please try to summarize.
I will summarize
what your ask is.
November the 21st, they said they would no longer need our homes. That's great, but they still need approximately 1 acre for a retention basin. Also, we need to keep, on January the 4th of 13, letter of recension was sent out and to reappraise. April the 3rd, a new appraisal for the 1 acre came in. I feel privileged because mine's 22 cents a square foot. At the July 25th condemnation evaluation meeting, we discussed design issues, and one was about the fee versus easement because of my lot split. My tentative map, I have $40,000 into it, and if we do fee, I have to start all over. OPC went to the county, talked to them, and they said I would possibly have to, so they're allowing $8,500 in the appraisal to take care of for that. And I've had $40,000 into it, so starting over is not going to do $8,500. So the request, we then requested that we make an easement. In that same meeting, we made an offer to OPC to make a settlement. They asked about to be put in writing. Dexter Law sent an offer in writing, and we have yet to this day to have any response back to it. Other than they're not interested. Now they're wanting to take the 1 acre. We've requested, I'll cut it short here. We've went 5 years with a full take and what have you, and we're to turn and go like there's nothing has ever happened, and we've got tons of expenses occurred and what have you, and we can't turn and walk away. I realize this is not about settlement. We've talked to them at the last meeting. There was a issue on maintenance has been a question. Who's going to maintain it? And they say they're going to. Well, I have neighbors to the north and the east of me that in the spring when we don't clear our weeds, the county code enforcement comes out and cites us, and we are forced to clean them or they come and do it. My neighbor to the south of me, here's a picture, doesn't live by that same standard. The only time it's cleaned is when we have fires to clean it off, as we had in 10/21/07, and we about lost our homes and our shop. And the fire is the same. The landowner is the same one that's going to maintain the wash in the basin. So they're in their letter that they sent out. They say they're going to not do it will not clean it will not maintain it on a continuous basis, but as needed, as the supervisor sees fit. Well, I'm wondering if the supervisor ever seen fit to clean our weeds on that side of the place.
Okay, is there a request that you have now from us?
Yeah, my request is that there's no need for a resolution of necessity. The need is for the team to come together and sit down We've made offers to them, and we get no response. 22 cents a square foot, I'd love to be able to go out and buy property all day long, and I do it all day long at 22
We can't
cents.
deal with, this is not a compensation
I
hearing.
understand that, but there's no need for the necessity of resolution, or resolution of necessity. All we need is a necessity of coming to the table to talk. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Dexter?
If I could just also summarize, Mr. Sigmund and the Sigmunds wanted you to be aware that basically this is a design issue. The debris basin, even though it may not appear to be important, the Sigmunds have a tentative parcel map with conditions that talk specifically about drainage. By taking even a permanent easement without specifically defining what the maintenance obligations will be, or by knowing for certain what the effect on their remaining development parcel will be, is not a compensation issue. It's a design one, especially when it could be known. Now, I saw a name today for the first time that staff apparently has spoken to with the county. We have not seen a letter. We haven't seen a letter removing any kind of condition in terms of drainage from the Sigmund's parcel into the base. Well, I've just been handed this. I'd be happy to evaluate it. But as we saw earlier, under the circumstances, I haven't had time to read it, as we've heard Caltrans say. So if we could review this, and I would request that the hearing, that your resolution be postponed to the following one, so that we can look at these conditions. And I also do want to say that staff has been instrumental in reducing the impact on the Sigmund's property, and we really appreciate that. I want to tell you that right now. And I think this will continue, but I do suggest that it be continued.
Commissioner Fromer?
Do you think maybe we could have you guys huddle outside right now?
I'm sorry?
We don't have to take a vote on this right now, but I'd like to take a vote on it today. Can you look at that and then maybe talk to Caltrans?
And then reappear?
And get back to us before the end of the meeting?
What time does your meeting end?
We're going to be here till 5 o'clock.
Okay.
We may be here till midnight.
We could we'll be here till late.
Can I ask you, can we suggest also that we specify the conditions of the maintenance agreement? I mean, that's usually an agreement. I never requested that it be part of the legal description. That's inappropriate. We know that. We would like to see a copy, a draft, and work with them to come to that agreement. I'll have to read this.
Why don't you read that first?
Huddle with our staff,
okay.
the Caltrans staff outside.
Okay.
And we'll continue this to whenever you come back.
Yeah.
And then how do I check in with the clerk? Or?
Check in with staff here.
Okay.
Just wave.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you both.
All right. So we're going to skip over this item now and go to item number 10, approval of minutes. We're finally at approval of minutes. A motion? Motion by Commissioner Inman, second by Commissioner Asimi. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. I'm losing commissioners left and right. Yeah, thank you. Number 11, Executive Director's Report. Andre, do you have anything?
Mr. Chair, in the interest of time, I'm going to pass.
All right. Any commissioners' reports? Commissioner Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very briefly, 3 quick items. First, I just, in my day job as president of the Orange County Business Council, annually, Orange County Business Council holds a red tape to red carpet event where we honor government agencies for cutting through red tape and actually helping to create jobs, being respectful of taxpayer dollars. It's an independent group of business leaders that get together and evaluate formal applications. I want to share with you, Mr. Chairman, that Ryan Chamberlain accepted on behalf of District 12 a red tape to red carpet award for their innovative sign at 60, which gets landowners incentivized to not have these kind of protracted meetings and saves taxpayer dollars, saves processing time. And so I just wanted to bring that to the Commission's attention for the record, that this program is a demonstration project in District 12, and certainly the business community in Orange County wanted to commend the district and Ryan's leadership and hope that this goes statewide, Malcolm. So thank you very much for your working on that. Second point, I wanted to share with you my sister here, Fran Inman, received Southern California Leadership's Network Visionary Award for 2013, so bravo to Fran. Thank you. And then my good news, bad news. The bad news is that, or I guess the good news is we just celebrated the groundbreaking for the 91 and a great project there, including express lanes. And the bad news is that Orange County on the 405 did not choose to follow the good example of my friends in Riverside and delayed adding an express lane to the 405 for a while. So good news, bad news, but I did want to bring that to your attention. I was particularly fascinated by a fact that I heard that 18 out of 20 California self-help counties are now using their local sales tax dollars to improve freeways or high state system and add express lanes. So I was fascinated by that our local dollars are being used for express lanes more and more. So that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Dunn. Any other commissioner reports? Commissioner Inman.
Just briefly, as you all may know, I have the privilege of serving as a part of the National Freight Advisory Committee, and I'm going to trust that my buddies from Caltrans are going to cover goods movement issues briefly update in their update. But I do want to make sure that all of you have taken a look at the draft primary freight network and really drill down. We need your feedback in terms of suggestions. So don't be asleep at the wheel, is what I'm hoping to say to all of you. And if you need a little inspiration, I would encourage you all to read the Canada's Gateways, their national policy framework for strategic gateways and trade corridors that they completed in 2007, and they're already getting attaboys for the progress that they've made by bringing together coalition and really focusing. So, thank you.
Okay, any other commission reports? Malcolm, I'm sure you're going to talk about the Caldecott Tunnel, so I need to mention that, right? Okay. Yeah. So the last item before we take a needed 10-minute break will be commissioners' meetings for compensation. Do I have a motion? Motion by Commissioner Dunn, seconded by Commissioner Tavaloni. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that item passes, and we'll just have to wait for Secretary Kelly for 10 minutes. Thank you.